McFly, are you in this?
Kerrang magazine.
They got together because they didn't particularly want to work in McDonald's, and they had, I'm sure, huge musical aspirations, but I don't think they had any commercial aspirations. They all wanted to form a band, and they wanted to do something in their garage. It wasn't a particularly fashionable thing to do to form a punk band back in the late 80s, when all you had was the Guns N' Roses and the Jane's Addictions and the Terry Fowlers of this world going around with the big long hair. To actually walk around with short hair and dark hair and green eyeshadow in those days wasn't a particularly cool thing to do in San Francisco. But we did know that they had a huge amount of talent, and that's what you're seeing the fruition of now.
Their first gig was at a restaurant where Mike worked as a cook. The same year they put out their first EP, 1,000 Hours, which was a big hit on the punk scene, and they were soon signed to local indie label Lookout Records.
Now you know how I feel. This love is forever. You made my life so real, every better. 'Cause you are the one that started to make me feel this way. And every night I'm thinking about just what you say. 'Cause you are the one that I want. 'Cause you are the one that I want. 'Cause you are the one that I want. 'Cause you are the one that I want.
Lookout, they released their debut album 39 Smooth. It cost $600 to record. Soon after, their drummer announced he was jacking it in to go back to college and suggested his old drum tutor, Trey Cool, should take over.
Hi, I'm Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine. I suppose Trey Cool brings a personality to the band. There's loads of bands where you wonder why the guys in the band, and when you meet the guys you actually realise why. I mean, he brings an enormous amount of fun and enthusiasm to the band, and it's a great drum.
So Trey made the switch from his band, the Lookouts, to Green Day, and the band continued to build up a cult following in the early 90s.
On Kerrang Radio.
A national tour of skate halls followed the day after Dern finished high school. By 1992, they've written and recorded their second album, Kaplunk, including an early appearance of the track Welcome to Paradise.
Welcome to Paradise.
You know from Welcome to Paradise there that the Green Day sound at this point was simple but effective. Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine.
No, I sort of think the Green Day is a bit like Ready Steady Cook. You walk in with 3 chords and you come out with 400 different versions of it. And what you guarantee with Green Day that you don't get with most bands is that every last one of those songs is an absolute corker. I think they've been around for pushing 1.5 decades, and they do pretty much the basic things that they've done all the way through their entire career. So they walk in. None of their albums sound exactly the same as each other, but it's an evolution rather than revolution. This is not Radiohead. This is not somebody starting off a rock band and ending up in some sort of prog band. This is somebody who does punk rock, and that's what they do.
Welcome to Paradise.
It shipped 30,000 copies, a record for their label, helped by a serious amount of live shows, including 5 US and 2 European tours. The underground success of Kerrang saw loads of major labels coming in for the band. Even Lookout record label owner Lawrence Livermore admitted his small outfit couldn't really cope with all the pressure. It was time to start thinking about moving onto a larger label. Eventually they decided to go with Reprise Records. So what did that mean for the band? Was it better?
I wouldn't say better, but I mean it's different. I mean that's what we're up for, finding different experiences, and that's what we're getting definitely out of Warner Brothers.
But Livermore didn't lose out completely. Part of the deal meant he held the rights to the next 2 albums. It's straight back into the studio for Green Day, and after 5 weeks they put together Ducky, which gets its release in 1994.
Do you have the time to listen to me whine about nothing and everything all at once? I am one of those melodramatic fools, neurotic to the bone, no doubt about it. Sometimes I give myself the creeps. Sometimes my mind plays tricks on me, and I'll keep setting up. I think I'm cracking up. Am I just paranoid? Am I just
We're going to put out a record sometime. What we want to do is, we want to put up more material than normal bands do, because it became a trend to put out a record once every year for a major label band, and what we'd like to be productive. Yeah, we're trying to, we just want to put out as much material as we possibly can. That's what it comes down to, is putting out a lot of music, not a lot of bullshit.
The main thing was what we really wanted was just to have good, simple songs that didn't have, a lot of, bullshit in it, like, guitar solos and, nothing that was, simple songs that were, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes long, that were just, good melodies, good old-fashioned rock and roll music. Mike's bass lines are, really, it's almost like a doo-wop singer or something like that. It's a call and response, almost to the way I'm singing. Trey, fills in every single rhythm beat that he could possibly do.
Nobody expected Dookie to be a hit, but when you look back now, you sort of wonder why, because that's an album with just an incredible number of fantastic singles on it. And I know it was 13, 14 tracks, and they could have released maybe 7 or 8 songs off the back of that. And it's a great album, but it's not a great album the same way that American Idiot is. It's a great album, and it sold well because it had a bunch of great singles on it. American Idiot is a great album because there's a thread line running right through the entire record, which is political and which is angry and which is musical. Dookie wasn't that. Dookie was just a collection of fantastic singles, and also, it has to be said, a collection of fantastic videos which coincided with the peak of MTV back in those days.
That was Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine. Well, Dookie was a typically punk album, 14 songs packed into 39 minutes. Guy Linto was one of the techies during the Dookie sessions.
They definitely wanted to go old school. You could tell that their idols were The Who and the Kinks, because I remember they were jamming with Rob Cavallo. They were playing guitar. Cavallo was a guitar player too, and you'd come in at night and they'd be playing like Substitute or some old Who song like that.
But it's exactly what the public wanted. Within 2 months it shifted more than 1 million copies, helped by the airplay of the singles Welcome to Paradise, Basket Case, When I Come Around and Longview.
On Kerrang Radio.
Well, the bands head off on the road again, but this time showing their real respect for their own fans by pulling off an entire tour of arenas with no ticket prices above $20. They also get in a slot at the Woodstock 94 and the Lollapalooza tour.
Lollapalooza is like a big corporate concert, but at the same time, it opens up different varieties of music and culture as well. If there's any kind of culture in America, then I guess that'd be some form of it, but. I don't know. We're happy to be a part of it this year. We're opening, and it gives us a chance to relax a little bit this summer. And besides, touring heavily as we usually do, and at this time we'll get a chance to watch other bands and have a good time.
They were the first band on stage, I think about midday or something like that. Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine. People would be leaping over the barriers just to, rush in and just to miss, not to miss Green Day's set, and that's quite extraordinary for the first band on in the day. And people were queuing up for the first band on rather than the headliners.
California music journalist Jan Yahelski.
When Green Day really took off after Woodstock 2, it was muddy. It was probably like how Glastonbury is. I mean, there was like a huge, just rainy mud field, and instead of, shrinking from it or like, pushing their instruments back and not being in the rain and the mud, Green Day, the fans started throwing clots of mud at Green Day, and what they did is they started throwing it back. And it was just like this huge free-for-all that was covered on all the media. I mean, people just saw that. And what had happened during it is one of the security guards had thought Mike Dirnt was just a fan who had scrambled on stage and had like got him in like a headlock. And during that, some fan had hauled off and threw a big clod of dirt and hit him right in the teeth, and he had like lost. His mouth was bloody and he had lost all his front teeth. And they kept playing, I mean, and as I said, it just made them this band that was, again, like their fans. They were like just in the moment. They were just engaged in all of, this raucousness, and it was just an amazing news story. But
Sales for Dookie rocketed after the Lollapalooza and the Woodstock performances, crossing the 10 million mark. They even get a Grammy in '94 for Best Alternative Performance. So what did they make of all their success so far?
Because it's best just not to have any expectations and to concentrate on what you're doing, which is music. That's why we like to stay on the road all the time, so we stay away from a lot of the bullshit.
And the band don't hang about either, quickly putting out a follow-up, Insomniac, which released at the end of 1995, and includes the song Brain Stew.
Mind is set on overdrive. The clock is laughing in my face. Crooked spine, my senses dulled. That's the point of delirium. On my own, here we go.
Although it shipped several million copies fairly quickly, it's nowhere near as successful as the last record, Dookie, with none of the singles doing as well either. Stuart Williams from Kerrang.
That difficult second major label album, it was difficult, and I don't think they actually set out to do that. I think they set out to write another album with some good tunes on it, and literally it was, they were tired, they were coming off the first tour, coming off an album which has sold 10 million copies, and with, as mostly happens in those cases, people deliver an album which is not bad, but not quite good enough. But to their credit, they kept going. I mean, nowadays I'm not sure if that many bands would have been thinking about their future, but Green Day always had a vision to stay around forever and keep on making punk rock music, and that's what's kept them going through that time.
Although within the camp things aren't all rosy, the band fired their management team halfway through the recording process of Insomniac. It was all over a song called JAR, which they recorded for the movie Angus. They accused the management of leaking the track to radio stations early. And at this point, we start getting rumours that the band really aren't getting on. Stuart Williams again.
Right through the late 90s, these were people who weren't necessarily talking to each other. They'd all come out the same background in California. They all had the same expectations in life. They got very rich very, very quickly. They got married very quickly and very, very young. And money corrupts and fame corrupts, and these three people weren't necessarily getting on for many of the years, and we heard sometimes that in the music.
And in the spring of 1996, Green Day cancelled an entire European tour.
We were just burnt out and decided that it was best to go home.
We never really stopped doing anything before, so we just wanted to get back into the creative process and actually write some things.
When bands cancel tours, it's not usually because of poor sales of the album, it's usually because of poor sales on the tour. Bands usually go out to make money on the road that they didn't manage to make on the album. So I think, obviously you'd have to ask them this question, but if you ask me, it's probably due to a combination of exhaustion, recent marriages and family lives just starting up and kids going on, and maybe not wanting to see each other for a while.
Well, I heard you crying loud all the way across town. You've been searching for that someone that is beyond on the crowd. As you sit around feeling sorry for yourself. Well, don't get lonely now. And try your white eyes. I'm just moving for the moment come around.
Still to come, and Green Day Uncovered. The band put out one of their most successful singles to date and keep on surprising the fans by shifting their music once again.
I heard it all before. Start down outside my door. I'm a loser and you use us, so and so. No accuser to try and flag me down because I know you're right. So go do what you like. Make sure you do it right. You may find out that yourself that this something was everywhere. You can't go forcing something if it's just not right. No time to search the world around. 'Cause you know where I'll be found when I come around. When I come around. When I come around. When I come around.
Teenager Gary Tilbury was dumped by girlfriend Natalie last night because he wanted sex without a condom.
Mr. Tilbury!
Comms operator in the British Army. You know.
So after Green Day pull their European tour, they spend the rest of the year resting and writing new material. And it looks like the time out paid off. Green Day came up with what many call their best album of their career, Nimrod, recorded at the Studio 880 in California. Studio owner John Lucasay.
From the first day they rolled in, Trey was definitely the card, you know. First thing is we had a less than adequate TV in the lounge, which ended up going off the roof, and it just goes smash into the ground. I look up and there's Trey, and so I give him this just like, what in the hell are you doing, look? And he just kind of looks at me and says, hi, that's it. And so I said, okay, we're in for one hell of a ride, you know. So Mike is a totally different character. He's like, you know, he's very intense. It's like he's had 30 cups of coffee and 2 espressos to boot all the time, and that's when he just wakes up in the morning. And Billy Joe, however, he's an awesome guy. He's really into his family, and he's very quiet. You know, he's into his own space, you know. So he wasn't destructive or anything like that, but we were definitely on Trey alert the whole time that they were at the studio.
I think just growing is just trying, you know, getting into like songwriting, basically. Well, I just think we would have gotten bored if we would have kept doing the same thing, but, you know, it's like, if you know, at the same time, we didn't abandon our past completely. We wrote 40 songs, and we ended up recording 30. Did another one. We did Allison by Elvis Costello. Right.
Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine.
When you're a punk rock band, you've got 3 or 4 chords to play with, and you've got to develop. And I think all they did was to take on the influences that went into making them in the first place. So you can hear the Stray Cats running right through the middle of that album. You can hear Black Flag, and you can hear X, and maybe more obviously going for a more folky route. But there's still some fantastic tunes on that album.
Both the fans and the critics loved it, especially the single Time of Your Life.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
Green Day Uncovered on Kerrang Radio.
But despite this song's success, the album is pretty much a commercial flop, only selling around 2 million copies. By this time, Green Day are getting a reputation as one of the best live bands around, and this is underlined with their gong at the Kerrang Awards for Best Live Performance. Billy Joe Armstrong.
I think we wanted to really kick people's asses. That was, you know, we were so fed up just with what we thought, what we heard on the radio.
And then there was the headline slot on the 2000 Vans Warped Tour.
When we, you know, like we were talking about doing the festivals, man, we love playing those festivals because we got to kick bands' asses every single night. And there is not a band that you can't mention that we haven't kicked their ass on stage at one time or another. And I think we're one of the most feared bands to play with in a festival situation. Nobody wants to go on after us.
Hi, I'm Lucio from Kerrang Radio. When you go down to a festival, you know, you might like one or two bands, know quite a lot of their stuff, and everybody else you'll know one or two records from. So really, to be a good festival band, you either need to do an amazing set, or you just need to have the back catalogue, and Green Day just managed to do both of those. The average festival goer, you know, might think to themselves, well, you know, I know Basket Case, I know Good Riddance, but actually when Green Day start, you realise how many of their tracks you know.
And then it's back into the studio to record Warning. Now it gets its release and is seen as probably Green Day's most ambitious album to date. Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine.
Well, undoubtedly, by the time you get to Warning, people are starting to ask questions. You know, what's the point of Green Day in 2001, 2000? And I think they were asking themselves that question. And if you asked them last year what their perspective on Warning was, it was that it was it felt like a sort of contractual obligation album. You didn't feel as much heart in Warning as you did in the previous albums, and it's the sound of a band maybe on the wane, and I think you hear that through the music. It's the most corporate of their albums.
This is a public service announcement, this is only a test. Emergency evacuation protest. May impair your ability to operate machinery. Can't quite tell just what it means to me. Keep out of reach at children, don't you talk to stranger. Get your philosophy from above the sticker. already. Warning, live without warning. I said warning, live without warning. I said warning, live without warning. I said warning, live without warning. This is a public service announcement, this is only a test.
The fans don't really know what to make of Green Day's new folkier sound, but they still score well with the singles Waiting and Minority.
Allegiance to the underworld, one nation under dark, there of which I stand alone. A face in the crowd, a tongue against the mold. Without a doubt, strangled out the only way I do. 'Cause I wanna be the minority. I don't need your authority. Down with the moral majority. 'Cause I wanna be the minority. Stepped out of the line, like a ship runs from the hood, marching out of time. To my love is now the only way I know. One light, one mind, flashing in the dark, blinded by the silence of a thousand broken hearts. For crying out loud, she screamed under me, a place for all, fuck 'em all, you are your side. 'Cause I wanna be the minority. I don't need your authority. Down with the moral majority. 'Cause I wanna be the minority. One light, one mind, flashing in the dark, blinded by the silence of a thousand broken hearts. I'm crying out loud, she screamed under me, I pray for all, fuck 'em all, you are your side. 'Cause I wanna be the minority. I don't need your authority. Down with the moral majority. 'Cause I wanna be the minority.
Green Day Uncovered on Kerrang Radio.
Billy Joe Armstrong.
I mean, I think it's definitely, it's done something. I don't know if it's matured, but, you know, I mean, when we started this band, I mean, we were going through puberty, you know, and then now we're
going through it again.
Going through it again. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed, and I don't know. I mean, I always just think of every record as kind of a different thing, and I don't, not necessarily like evolving or like a maturity process or anything like that. It's just, you know, we go up and this is the kind of record that we kind of make, and I don't know, just have a good time.
Hi, I'm Stuart from Kerrang magazine. Warning has got 2 or 3 singles on it, but you sort of feel that of the songs on that album, they're the 3 songs that they aren't necessarily, haven't got their heart in. And yeah, people who've been Green Day fans for a long, long time are starting to ask the question, have they run out of steam and are they coming towards an end? And you notice that their greatest hits came out really, really, really quickly after that album. That's normally a sign of a band's about to go into hiatus, and that's what happened with Green Day.
Yeah, as you heard there, what followed after Warning was the greatest hit album, International Super Hits, a B-sides compilation called Shenanigans, and a DVD, International Super Videos, which marked really one of the band's strongest areas, their promotional videos.
Sometimes we'll come up with an idea for doing a video, like, you know, the early days, it was our idea to do a basket case in an insane asylum. It's our idea to do Keep Stink Breath. My friend was getting his tooth pulled. We wanted to film him getting the dental surgery.
they were the first punk rock band in a long, long time that you actually want to watch. And Billy Joe is a fantastic frontman, incredibly, there's nothing going on his face just to keep you entertained for hours. So they managed to marry punk rock ethics and punk rock visual style and actually put it onto a $1 million video and make it look even more than that. So yeah, I mean, you couldn't move in 1994 and 1995 for Basket Case and for the early video.
And then to stop all the rumours about them going on this indefinite hiatus, they head out on a massive greatest hits tour.
I would choose rock and roll over sex and drugs, because it seems like anytime you're doing the rock and roll thing, the sex and the drugs are going to kind of immediately follow anyway.
Absolutely. You can't have rock and roll without the other two, so it's sort of a loophole, catch-22, rock and roll.
Rock and roll.
The only bummer is, without the other two, the songs might be kind of bland.
I've been waiting a long time for this moment to come. I'm destined for anything at all. Downtown, lights will be shining on me like a new diamond ring out under the midnight hour. Well, no one can touch me now, well, and I can't turn my back, yes, it's too late, ready or not at all. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! Dawning of a new era calling. Don't let it catch you falling, ready or not at all. I'm so close, and that's the taste it, almost. I can embrace this feeling on the tip of my tongue. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! Better think of that kid stars. Hey, hey, hey. Well, I'm so much closer than I have ever known. Wake up! Better think of that kid stars. Hey, hey, hey.
Still to come in part 3 of Green Day Uncovered, they revive good old punk politics and venture into the movie business.
Dumb truck, gonna be stupid, good luck. You're gonna need it where I'm going if I get there at all. Wake up! Better think of that game starts.
They hadn't got to the stage where they hated each other. I think they got to the stage where they needed time off from each other, and creatively they just needed a bit of a break. And that's what happened. And I think what happens is you release your greatest hits, then you go away and you have a bit of rest, and then within a year, 18 months, the record company comes knocking on your door and says, guys, can we have another record, please?
Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine. And that's exactly what happened. All the rumours suddenly died down when there's talk of a new record in the pipeline. And during the early stages of writing, Green Day say it's going to be a return to their punk roots.
Each song it has its own like feeling to it, own emotions to it, whatever. Tap on that particular subject. And Bill writes it down, and then he can forget about it and go on to the next one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not like home therapy or anything like that. It's just more like, I don't know, trying to just deal with yourself,
Then it's back to Britain to play the Carling Weekend in Reading. Lucio from Kerrang Radio's Drive Time show.
Green Day rocked Reading and Leeds last year. I saw them at Reading, and basically it was the festival where 50 Cent got booed off stage, and that meant, because 50 Cent and G-Unit were on just before Green Day, that meant that Green Day had to start even earlier, and did us a 2-hour set, which is just absolutely amazing. Basically everyone went ballistic. What more do you expect from a Green Day fan? It's just bouncing around for 2 hours. Probably the best thing about a Green Day set at Reading was when they got the kids from the crowd, just pulled them up onto the stage. They were after people that can play drums, people that can play bass, people that can play guitar. They got these 3 kids out, and credit to them, they could do all 3.
And after 4 years of waiting, the next album is released.
I think about 18 months from start to finish in the writing and recording. And, you know, when you work this hard on something and you're a band of the caliber that we are, that of course we expect, you know, to make a great record. But whether or not people, you know how good it is different. We're just really lucky and happy that everything's working out, you know. It's all firing on all cylinders.
Green Day Uncovered on Kerrang Radio.
What about bassist Mike Dirnt? What did he make of the new release?
This record, we couldn't have written this record if we hadn't had, 16 years as a band, and kept playing and touring and, had all of our fans supporting us the whole time. And so I think it's really great. We've spent a lot of time really challenging ourselves to the point of scaring the crap out of ourselves, because it's really scary. We didn't think anybody was, in a day where, you get singles downloaded on the internet and all this other stuff, and it's like to put out an album that is, in our eyes, truly an album. I think for the first time we really wanted to create something that followed through all the way,
with continuity.
Yeah, without sounding pretentious, a piece of art.
Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine.
With American Idiot, they maybe grudgingly got back in the studio and started discussing their songs. And initially the feeling was, maybe we've run out of steam. And then thankfully, or not thankfully, George Bush came along and gave them a bit of energy, and they suddenly had something to be angry about again. It's quite hard to be a 30-year-old multi-millionaire rock star in America and be angry. What are you going to be angry about? Trent Reznor manages it, Nine Inch Nails, but with most bands, you see, once people get rich and get happy, they're no longer angry. And thankfully, George Bush gave them a bit of fuel.
To many people, American Idiot was a piece of art, especially for those who were anti-Bush. The band made it no secret that this was a social comment about the state of their country. And for Mike, punk and politics have always gone hand in hand.
It started off when I was 13 years old, hanging out with friends of mine and seeing dead Kennedys carved into their skateboard, I think punk rock and just, a lot of the bands that influenced me early on were political bands, and they, it's been an education for us since day one. It just kind of opened your eyes and you go, whoa.
there's bands that just straight up are not political, and I respect that. That's fine. You know, if you want to, you know, make it boring music, go ahead. But no, I'm just kidding. But that's fine. I mean, we're not always a political band. You know, this is the first time we've ever really stepped out and done this. Rock and roll is supposed to be about rebellion. It's supposed to be dangerous.
Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine. Without doubt, it is the best album that Green Day have ever made. I mean, their greatest hits has got 20 fantastic songs on it, which is a string through all the albums they've ever done. But they've only made one great album as such, and that is American Idiot, because there's just an amazing consistency through it. The songs don't sound alike, and they don't sound like each other. They don't sound like much else. Every last song on that album sounds like Green Day. I mean, I first heard that album in August, and I think I've played it every single day since then, and I'm not tired of a single song on that album. And I can't remember the last time I said that about a rock album.
Green Day Uncovered on Kerrang Radio.
American Idiot went down a storm, even though it was so anti-Bush. Even picked up an award at the 2005 Grammys.
Oh, God. Well, there's a ton of people we have to thank. Rob Cavallo.
Ramona, Franquito, Billy, Mike, all the fans, thank you.
Rock and roll can be dangerous and fun at the same time, so thanks a lot.
The city sleeps and I'm the only one and I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk alone. I walk alone, I walk up. My shadow's only one that walks beside me. My shadow heart's the only thing that's beating. Sometimes I wish someone up there will find me. Till then I walk alone.
And unusually for any band who put politics in their music, they said they weren't trying to convert anyone to their way of thinking.
It's a discussion. It's not about whether who's right or who's wrong. It's about taking in the information and finding your own individual opinion upon that. You know, it's our opinion, and you know, I think it's a very American thing to do, is to, especially to do it through art, because that's the way that we express ourselves the best.
Even though it's set within like a political climate, the overtone, the theme within it, the rage and love theme really carries through each part of it.
The album is sort of about what's happening in the culture, and anything from, you know, CNN, Fox News to reality television, you know, whether it's war or a bad administration right now. So it's and sort of feeling like you're not being represented the right way.
A lot of people outside the United States have this perception that everyone in the United States is represented by the president, and I, for one, am not.
We don't always have to win everything. You know, America doesn't have to like go around and tell everybody like that they need to eat freedom fries and that they have to, you know, wear Levi's and, you know, act like Western culture. It's scary anytime that you start to throw your opinion around a little bit, because, you know, I mean, people are afraid to talk about politics, but I mean, that's sort of what the times that we're in right now.
The band campaigned tirelessly for Democrat candidate John Kerry in the run-up to the American election, but despite their best efforts, George W. Bush wins a second term in office. Trey Cool.
I don't know if there's anything more frustrating than that, or dangerous, for that matter.
Yeah, I don't know. That's it's frustrating, but you know what? We stick to our guns. I think now it's just time for everybody to take a deep breath and regroup and maybe make a plan to get someone better in next time. There's no election to promote right now, really, but I think everyone, like I said, they're just regrouping. You know, I think we ended up with a situation where, historically speaking, the United States has never changed presidents in the middle of a war, and we ended up in this situation where it's, you know, Kerry's pretty moderate too. So next time, I think, if anything, that, you know, the Democrats or whoever's going to run against them needs to pick somebody who is definitely in opposition and not trying to, you know, run on the same platforms.
They should start farming that dude now, because, you know, the Republicans probably are. They probably have exactly in mind who they want to run next time, and hopefully it's not Jeb Bush. You know, it'll be another Bush, and, you know, so we got to be ready for that. So, you know, liberals up in arms.
The videos Green Day put out to go with the singles off American Idiot were some of their best. They even got producer Sam Barron back on board.
These guys played the record for me. Like, I met them and they played the record, and man, it blew me away. This made me want to come back into doing music videos. I don't think there's too many bands out there that are like this, and I think this record's going to be huge. Monstrous. I'm thrilled to be a part of it.
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Like Sam Baer, what he wanted to do, us playing like in front of a giant flag, something like out of Patton. But instead of doing it red, white, and blue, we were like, let's do it green, white, and black, and whatever those colors end up representing.
Well, Green Day have been touring the album around the world since the start of 2005. They're going to be back in Britain this summer for their biggest ever UK shows at the Milton Keynes Bowl. Mike Durnt.
We're going to go back, then we're going to Asia and Australia, and then coming back here. We're doing the States, plans for South America.
Should be back here in the summertime. And then after that, the sky's the limit, I think.
We like coming here.
At some point, we got to fit in going to South America because I think a lot of sunlight down there. So, yeah.
And in between their hectic schedule, they found the time to write a movie based on the American Idiot album. Mike Durnt and Trey Cool.
We're just touring this album like really hard right now, and
yeah, the brains are always working, but we're not necessarily writing songs right now. I mean, there's always things filtering in and out, but
we're writing a movie.
We're really focused on this record. This record is so new right now. Outside of the album, Billy's written a really good treatment, and we're talking to different writers and stuff right now for a movie script. It's the stories in the record. You can see it there, but we want to keep it rock and roll based, and without preconceiving it too much, we'd love to get a writer involved too that can really put their twist on things also.
To date, American Idiot is their best-selling album. Not bad for a bunch of working-class punks from the wrong side of town. But for some reason, I don't think American Idiot will be the last we hear of Billy Joe, Mike Durnt and Trey Cool.
I'm Lucio from Kerrang Radio. They've got the music, they've got the interaction with the crowd, and they just got the right attitude. People want to say fuck you to George Bush. They want to say screw capitalism, and that's what Green Day's about.
Stuart Williams from Kerrang magazine. They're one of those bands that do what they do, and they come in and go out of fashion like any good band does. Green Day's influence is extraordinary because I went to see them in Brixton a couple of weeks ago, and there were 40-year-olds jumping around, and there were 8-year-olds jumping around, and I think that's great for the band. I think it's going to be an issue for the band over the next coming year because it's very strange to have such a wide range of people who are into your punk rock music. But any band that can draw people into rock music with such quality music and such amazing live performances gets a tick in my book.
Coming down like an Armageddon flame. Shame the ones who died without a name. Every dog's howling out of key to a hymn called faith and misery. And bleed, the company lost the war to dead. I think to dream
Ugly Phil Breakfast Show.
Set the scene on that goddamn milk and monk for me.